Hello and welcome to this week's In Conversation, in which I talk to people in the Northeast dynamic and exciting cybersecurity scene. My name is Phil Jackman, and today I'm joined by Andrew Douthwaite, Chief Technology Officer at VirtualArmour. Hi Andrew, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks Phil. Nice to see you.
Good. And you? Can you start off with telling us a bit about yourself and your role at VirtualArmour?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a Chief Technology Officer, there's general responsibilities that come with that for anyone in that role. But being such a small company, there's a lot of other things that I get involved in. So as a technology officer, I work on the direction of the company from the products that we use, the services that we provide, but also making sure that what we are doing is continuously improving. Everything's running smoothly, and I'm responsible for a lot of the day-to-day operations on top of kind of the vision and strategy going forward. But I do get myself involved in every department within the organization pretty much.
Excellent. I mean, there's nothing to, it's very difficult to know how big an organization is. You certainly seem like a big organization to me. But tell us, what is VirtualArmour and what does it do?
So VirtualArmour is a managed security services provider. So what that means is that we provide a service to customers who generally are IT light or don't have the expertise that we can provide around security products or ancillary products around security. So that would be anything from a managed kind of log and security incident investigation standpoint, or managed infrastructure, so firewalls, switches, routers, and we have a lot of different services that are built around those that complement or add to what we're providing around the main services that we offer.
So your company's about 20 years old now, from my understanding, and you set out by offering something that the MSSPs just didn't offer. What was it that they were not offering that allowed you, provided you that opportunity to grow?
Yeah, so 20 years ago, there really wasn't the existence of any security service providers. They were all kind of distributors or large vendors, such as like your big Orange networks at the time, Vodafone's, Verizon in the US. They were kind of providing all security around the connectivity that they provided. So what we came in to do was provide kind of a secondary, like a failover environment for when the big connections from the big boys went down, basically. As we were building out those on a project by project basis, the customers were coming and saying, well, actually, who looks after all of this? And that's where we kind of start the MSSP part of the business, and that's continually monitoring and managing a whole environment for a customer. Generally, we started off where it was a global company may have 20-30 offices around the globe, all needing to connect to each other and transfer data and information securely. And that's where we came in, made sure that was all operating continuously 24/7 around the clock.
Excellent. So 20 years in IT is a long time, isn't it? And I imagine the challenges that you're facing today are very different to what they were at that time. How have these opportunities changed over that period?
They've changed massively. So back then, we look at kind of what people how we're trying to secure the data, and it was mainly across like how the data was transferred. So making sure that it wasn't intercepted kind of in transit. Since then, the whole cyber landscape's opened up. The attackers are just so much more diverse. There's more data out there. There's more ways of connecting. There's data is hosted in different places. Look at the cloud. Look at what's on your mobile phones. How you access that data. It's completely changed. I remember when I first started in the company, like 2007, and I was really pleased when I first got my first work email on my phone. I was out with my family, and I was able to get my first email on phone. I was like, great, I can work off my phone. It was very, very patchy. Look at it now, constantly working from your phone and pretty much doing everything up from there. So connectivity and how you access your data is kind of a massive change, and the way that you build out security around that, but keeping availability at the same time, and being able to be assured that it's the right data, it hasn't been tampered with or is false. that's now a massive problem for all companies.
Yeah, it's fascinating the way it's all changed. So I imagine you see, because you span both the UK and the United States, you must see emerging threats all the time. What's really worrying you? And is it different between here in Europe and over in the States?
I would say geographically there isn't much of a difference. It's kind of, what you see emerging now is definitely supply chain hacks and third-party ways of getting into multiple companies. So what we're seeing is target attacks against service providers that may have access to thousands of companies. So hack one company and getting access to everything. Does that make sense? So that's one key area to be protected from, is make sure you're vetting your service providers, your third parties. If you do have to allow them into your environment, make sure it's very limited and policed really well. Or the opposite of that, if you're going into their environment, make sure that the data that you're storing up there or transferring is protected by them, but also you've got security controls around backups and things like that, so that if they are hacked, ransomware is prevalent. If your AWS or whatever could be hacked and your VMs are all locked up there and with all your data in, then you've got to have your backups available in several different places in order to be able to recover from that.
Yeah, I think the distributed nature now of supply chains getting broader and broader across the world is a real big threat for cybersecurity. We're an opportunity, I'm afraid, for those who are like-minded. But so tell us a bit about your prevention platform. How does that provide the world-class protection for your customers?
Yeah, so talking a bit earlier about kind of how it's changed in the security world, basically, you've got to have like defense in depth. So first things first, our services provide multiple platforms that cover you from cloud all the way through to the actual device that your users are working on, and everything in between. The way our platform works from there is that we can ingest everything that we see in all of those defense mechanisms and be able to not just give you an alert and say, well, think something's happened because one of our systems has told us. We actually go away and investigate through several stages, all the way through to be able to actually remediate on kind of your behalf, and then prevent it from happening in the future. Many other MSSPs only throw alerts over the fence to the customer and kind of overwhelm them. A common thing is alert fatigue in the industry, and it's kind of like, well, you've got to provide something above and beyond that in order to differentiate yourself in this industry. So those steps, from once something's been triggered, we will initially triage, make sure we don't think it's a false positive or anything like that. Then it'll run through our automation tools. We have several tools. We've bought tools from other providers, and we've built our own in-house automation tools as well, which does a lot of research, does a lot of verification, making sure that what's being triggered is genuine. We increase and decrease kind of the criticality and severity of what's happening. And then it comes onto our human analysts. So they then go through, their advanced kind of investigation side of what we've seen. From there, we then say, right, okay, what we're seeing here, it looks like a genuine issue. It may not be a full-blown attack, but this is what we recommend we do to prevent it from happening in the future, and also what we'll do immediately to stop, what's happening right now. And those are key. The last two steps there of prevention and also remediation on the spot at real time, if you like, are key elements of what our platform does.
Excellent. I imagine it's very easy to get overwhelmed with the huge number of notifications that come out, and picking the wheat from the chaff is probably a key area that you're addressing. So for the uninitiated, you've got your NOC up in Middlesbrough. So what's the difference in a NOC and a SOC?
So we've got a SOC both sides of the pond, but basically NOC and SOC are two different business functions in our organization. So NOC is a network operations center, and basically that's kind of the managed infrastructure side of things. So that's where we're monitoring for availability, health issues on an environment. Can we still get to the office in Perth, for example? Is it do they need to fail over to another ISP to make sure they can still connect? That's more than the network operations side of things, whereas the security center, which is the SOC, the Security Operations Center, is more based around our tools and our platform, finding something that might be bad in the environment, and the research, the investigation, and the triage, plus the remediations that we would do on the back of that.
Excellent, excellent. So I've already said that you're here in Middlesbrough and Denver, Colorado. How did that happen?
Yeah, it's not that much of a interesting story, but basically, it was founded from Denver. Our founders are based in Denver, our former founders, and we still have our headquarters there. So we've got some of the leadership team are still there and some engineers. But when I came on board, it was through a family member who worked from Denver, basically. So I came on board, kind of engineer number 3 or 2 on the MSS side of the house, and when we were growing, obviously we need to be 24/7, so we kind of grew both areas. Just because I was kind of one of the founding engineers, it was easy for me to stay where I was born and live, and build up kind of the SOC here, as well as build it up on the other side in the US as well.
So does that allow you to manage multiple time zones easier than there? Because I know quite a few organizations have places in Australia and that kind of thing for that reason.
Absolutely, yes. So we're actually expanding in the Philippines at the moment as well. So we've got what we call a virtual SOC over there, which is a group of engineers and analysts in the Philippines who are now providing we've always been split by 12 hours shifts, but now we're going at like an 8-hour mode where we've got like three geographic locations providing that. Specifically, as you know, hackers never sleep. So we have to be around 24/7, always switched on. But also, our customers are global as well, so they have global presence, a lot of them. So they always want, support and help throughout any time during the day.
That sounds like a really exciting story, and one no doubt we'll talk about some other time. But so you studied as a software engineer. You ended up in a significant role in cybersecurity. How did you get here?
Yeah, it was the opportunity really of starting a new career. I was enjoying being a software engineer. I'd done it for probably 4 years after leaving university. But it was just the opportunity that I was given. It was particularly from a family member who was high up at VirtualArmour at the time, who needed help, and said, "Look, Andrew, you work in IT. Do you want to try your hand in network security, really?" So I did. I worked part-time for a while, probably 2005 till 2007, when the company really started taking off, and it was, right, do you want to come on board full-time? I was enjoying the work I was doing. I had a young family, but still enjoyed putting the hours in that it took to develop the company to where we are today.
Excellent, excellent. It's amazing how your life takes you, just the opportunity that comes. So my last question for you, though, look, this has been a very strange 12 months, probably stranger even than the one before. So what one thing would you like to see happen in the next 12 months?
I think, everything has settled down for a while, and obviously you're not going to camp from what's happened over the last kind of 2 to 3 years, from the pandemic to war and everything else in between. You can't predict anything. It'd be good to get to some kind of normal. I think there's been some great innovations and ways of working and methodologies come out of the pandemic, so there are some better ways of working going forward. But I'd like to see getting back to face-to-face. The conferences are spinning back up again. RSA was in San Francisco last week. It's InfoSec in London this week. Meeting customers face-to-face, that's where we have a lot of success, so we can get our value proposition across. And it's kind of like we provide a personal touch a lot of the time, whereas some of the bigger rival MSSPs are kind of just very monolithic and just kind of machines. So being able to meet customers and provide that kind of face-to-face, I think is going to be great going forward as we get back to normal, hopefully.
I couldn't agree with you more. Having been at the Dynamo conference yesterday, just saying hello to people in the flesh, in 3D, as Charlie said,
yeah.
It's really been really good. So thank you very much for that, Andrew. I'd also like to thank Robert Campbell, who's helped me to set up these In Conversations, brought to you by Cyber North, the Northeast Cybersecurity Cluster. Look out for the next NAS series, and if you're interested in taking part or know someone who should, please get in touch with hello@cybernorth.biz. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
That was In Conversation with Phil Jackman, lead for Cyber North. Audio and video production was by me, Robert Campbell. This was a Team Funds production for Dynamo Northeast.